shouldn't even make this video. This one's going to get me in trouble. And I apologize because I'm probably going to make a lot of you guys really uncomfortable. But I think I've uncovered something that's so dark and so demonic, and it's been hidden right in front of our eyes this entire time. But because of the walls and layers of propaganda and our corrupted education system, we couldn't see it. It's almost like it's been deleted from history. But we're about to unpack the truth. So if you'll give me about 10 minutes of your time, I need to start with the education system. And then I'm going to show you how there is a group of individuals that every year they perform satanic ritual sacrifices, which involve sacrificing our little ones to Moloch. And before we dive into it, I just want to leave a little bit of breadcrumbs here. There's been a group of individuals who have been kicked out of 109 nations over 1,111 times. But yet we know nothing about it in history. In order to unpack this and see what has been hidden right in plain sight in front of us this entire time, we need to start with how the Rothschilds took over the education system. Because in order to control this and carry this out, you would have to control the books, you would have to control the flow of information, and you would have to be able to write history. Check this video out.
So this is a great one, and I always talk about the school system because who owns it? Bankers. Check this. Peabody Educational Fund, 1865. That's actually J.P. Morgan. And look at Southern Educational Fund, 1899, controlling the South. Then you move to George Foster Peabody. He gets connected and goes to John D. Rockefeller. Board of Southern Education Fund, $1 million. Then he creates the board in 1905, owns all the schools, and then absorbed into the General Education Board in 1960s, the foundation. So these families right here own all the school systems. So whoever you learn from, this is who you're learning from. You're getting brainwashed in propaganda rather than thinking outside the box and using critical thinking.
And I almost didn't want to believe it at first because one of my friends told me, they said, you know, that the word Holocaust wasn't even mentioned in any textbook, in any book, anywhere in the world until like 1993. It was mentioned one time in a congressional record in like the 80s or 70s. Outside of that, it was never mentioned. And then 1993, we had the first creation of the first Holocaust Museum. And then by the 2000s, end of the 90s, every school across America was teaching this version of history, the Holocaust, if you will. Our parents didn't learn about that in school. Ask them. They'll look back and they'll go, yeah, you know what? I don't think we did. So then I started to think, well, if you're going to take over that, and there's some really dark forces, and people were making these accusations about, you know, what they do with the children. I said, okay, well, are there any religious scriptures? Has our religious books changed? Do they manipulate our religion as well? And I found this.
Christian Zionism. How are so many Christians tricked into this, especially since Zionists openly hate Christians? It all started in 1909 with the publication of the Schofield Reference Bible, a Rothschild Zionist-funded reinterpretation of the Bible to help Zionists create the state of Israel with the tricked support from the Christians. They paid somebody to reinterpret the words of the Bible to American Christians. The tricks are in the footnote interpretations of the scripture, and sometimes there was more
Now that video was from Eric Warshaw. He's an amazing, amazing creator. You should give him a follow. Now the next clip I want to show you is from Ian Carroll, and I want to explain exactly what Ian is missing and what I think Eric is missing. And this is going to be the key missing part to pull all of this together.
You guys know about the Schofield Bible? Oh boy, here's a rabbit hole for you. Here's a rabbit hole for all of us. In the early 1900s, right around when the Federal Reserve was founded and the Balfour Declaration happened, right at that exact same time, the Rothschild family hired this dude, this pastor in the Deep South. He made a new version of the Bible called the Schofield Bible. He wrote this new Bible that has all these new interpretations of the text. So they didn't change.
With Jewish influence.
Yes, literally. That's where Judeo-Christianity kind of came from. And the idea that Israel is this modern Israel thing is the Israel of the Bible. It came from that Bible. And the Schofield Bible was funded by the Rothschild family. And then it was pushed because they owned the publisher that publishes like all the books. I think it was Oxford Press. And so they had the deals that they could make to get that Bible into all the mega churches across whole denominations of Christianity. And so that was when Christianity got kind of Jewified.
I think Eric and Ian both made valid points. And yes, everything that they stated in those videos is absolutely correct. But the key piece they're missing is that wasn't the first time our religious scripture had changed. So I don't know if you guys have been scrolling through Instagram or Facebook and you've seen these shorts of people going into their attics and finding like these Bibles from like the 1600s, the 1700s. Well, there's a lot of things that are missing from our current Bibles. Now we've been told and led to believe that, you know, certain things didn't add up, so they removed the book of Enoch, they removed this, they removed all of these books from the Bible. I think part of it had to do is what they taught us, that the world wasn't a globe, the world wasn't a ball. The world was a lot different and a lot bigger than we expected it to be or when we've been taught. But that wasn't the real secret reason. That was just the logical reason. But in the background, what they didn't realize was what was being removed was martyrs.
Lees, who wrote a book about Jewish ritual murder in the early part of the 20th century in England, noted some interesting facts surrounding the ritual murders. A converted Jew called Theobald of Cambridge confessed that the Jews took blood once a year from a Christian child because they thought that only by so doing could they ever obtain their freedom and return to Palestine. And it was their custom to draw lots to decide whence the blood was to be supplied. The tragic murder that occurred to innocent William set a precedent. Because of Thomas of Monmouth's books that he wrote about the good child, others began to record these wicked deeds perpetrated by fanatical Jews. Some more of these reported victims follow.
Now, in order to become a martyr, you would have to be basically sacrificed based off of your religion. You would have to be killed because of your religious beliefs. I'm going to use a little bit of code word here. Satanic ritual sacrifice. Replace the word satanic in the beginning with the J word. So J, ritual sacrifice. Okay? That is the name of the documentary, and you should watch it because we're going to play a few clips from it here in just a second. But what happened was all throughout history, all of those 109 times that they've been evicted and kicked out of countries, deported from nations, because they were caught sacrificing children.
In 1243, in Kissingen, Bavaria, Jews were convicted by a court of law after having confessed to having used the blood of Gentiles for occult rites in their Jewish holiday of Passover.
And what happened to those children? They became martyrs, and they were put into our biblical text, our biblical scripture. God was warning us what these people were capable of, and so were priests, and so were kings, and so were leaders of nations, all throughout history.
In the year 1255 in London, England, a young innocent Gentile by the name of Hugh was discovered to have been ritually murdered. His punctured body was found hidden on a Jew's property. After having reviewed the evidence, a court tried and convicted 18 prominent Jews of having committed the deed. The child was later canonized and became a saint. Altogether, before the Catholic Church became a bulwark for political correctness, there were over 20 children who had been ritually murdered by Jews and made into saints.
And it all boiled back to how they actually sacrificed these children by puncturing them. Each Jewish person would take a shank and shank them while they had them hanging upside down, bleeding out all over statues of Moloch.
In 1290 in Oxford, England, a Jew by the name of Isaac de Poulet was arrested for the ritual murder of a Gentile child. Perhaps this was the defining moment, as Jews were permanently banished from England a month later. Many of these Jews fled to Germany or other European cities.
I mean, this stuff's so dark and so demonic. That's what they really wanted to remove from history. That's why every time there's an archaeological discovery, somebody has to go in, because they are terrified that we are going to uncover scripture that warned us about them. And it makes everything make sense. So when I play these next few videos, again, I apologize. I just uncovered this morning and it almost made me puke. I was so disgusted. And I said, holy shit. This is all so much bigger than we can even comprehend. And not just that. I believe that they are harnessing some dark demonic energy that we don't really know exists, but we know exists. We understand that there's things happening in this universe that we can't really understand or explain. We can feel it. We feel like our brains are way more powerful than we've been led on to believe. We feel like maybe there's some metals in the vaccines that have to do with our vibrational frequencies, because if you wanted to mess with a frequency, you would inject some type of non-magnetic force or material into that equation. And which is why I think we're getting injected within days of us being born, so that our brain, our third eye, never actually develops. So when I share this next video with you guys, I know it's going to make you uncomfortable and you probably don't want to share it. But maybe just send it in a DM to a couple friends who maybe need to see this video, because it about made me sick. And just ignoring the fact that we are at war and there are some dark demonic forces that have waged war on all Christians and Muslims across the entire world. And it's one small group of people that are trying to come after our children. And the sickest part about this is part of these rituals involve forcing us to eat our own children. So after they sacrifice them, they use the blood in their recipes, and they make bread and they make food, and then they give it out to all of the people in those towns and civilizations. I know how batshit crazy this sounds, but please don't take my word for it. Just listen to what they say.
The name of Rabbi A.B. Finkelstein. He's off the east coast of the United States, who's going to be joining me tonight. Shalom, I am here. There's a lot of rumors and conjecture that's taking place across this country relating to the Jewish population, okay? Okay. The masses have a hard time believing anything. Well, we've done a great brainwashing job on them over the centuries, and especially the last few hundred years. We've just brainwashed them completely. They believe anything we tell them. And, in the meantime, we have a lot of fun around Passover where we steal the children. I mean, we steal 100 to 300,000 children a year just here in this country, and we drain the blood and we mix it with the Passover bread, and then we throw the bodies into the slaughterhouses that we own, and we grind up all the bodies in the sausage and the hamburger. McDonald's is one of our favorite outlets, and the people, they eat them for breakfast, they eat their children for lunch, and, as Jews, we gotta do what we do. It's over for you white race, so that's why I'm speaking so honestly.
When you hear things like that, they sound so gosh damn crazy. I know how crazy they sound. But after watching what they did in Gaza and watching the IDF train their soldiers to double tap children, one in the genitals when he goes down, the second one in the head, and they're able to shoot off children's genitals, they had protests for the right to rape prisoners. We're watching the most demonic and evil thing in 4K, and the entire world is watching it, yet no one's doing anything to stop it. So the only logical conclusion I can come up with is they are harnessing some type of dark demonic energy, and they use that dark demonic energy to either cast a spell over everybody, or at the very least the people in power, or the blackmail that they have on these people because they've participated in these satanic rituals. But that's what their people believe in. So if their people are at the upper echelons of power in every organization in our country, there's some dark, sick people that are in control of the FDA, control of the CDC, control of the FBI, the DOJ. All of these institutions that are supposed to protect us have been turned as weapons against us. It's absolute crazy, right? Am I crazy? Does this sound insane to you guys? I don't fucking know. This video is going to get me deleted from the internet, but fuck it. It needed to be put out, right?